So what I'm saying is that their whole idea was you needed to have, not only was this film going to be completely gay, not only was it going to be a romantic comedy, which is very hard nowadays to get people to go to the theater to see. Remember, a lot of people won't go to a theater to see anything because so much is streamed directly now. They don't even have to wait for stuff to come out onto the streaming services after being in the box office. It goes direct to streaming because people don't have the patience anymore, and people don't really go to films as much. Um, so it says Universal has stayed in the comedy business even as the genre struggles theatrically and increasingly becomes the purview of streaming. Among the studio's longtime partners are Bros producer Judd Apatow and director writer Nicholas Stoller, who helmed the film. The studio was lauded for taking on the project, and Bros was embraced by critics following its world premiere at the 2022 Toronto Film Festival. It presently boasts a glowing 95% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences also liked it, giving it an A cinema score. Yet the opening was even worse than expected. Heading into the weekend, tracking had suggested it could earn between $8 to $10 million. Rolling Stone already has Bros on the list of the best comedies of the 21st century. Eichner said in the same Twitter thread. What's also true is that at one point, a theater chain called Universal said they were pulling the trailer because of the gay content. Universal convinced them not to. America, F yeah, etc., etc. Bros' top 10 markets were all in New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Gee, I wonder what those places have in common. It did decent business in several other major cities, including Chicago. Otherwise, it has been a bust so far. Eichner himself went to an LA cinema Saturday night, and then he goes into that. Um, Bros marks Eichner's fist lead role. their words, not mine. Is Freudian slip, the Hollywood Reporter, in a major studio pick. The actor who broke out with work in NBC's Parks and Recreation and the game show Billy on the Street stars in the film opposite Luke McFarlane and Harvey Firestein, among others. I actually this is like something I do whenever I have to like make like one of these jokes that like imitates like a gay person. I usually use like the oh my god, like the Harvey Firestein voice. Oh, Bubba, come on. It's like I remember him from Mrs. Doubtfire because really for people to this is something that there's no nice way to say it. The gay community has always tried to pretend like they're looking for respectability and that all of these stereotypes and stigmas are wrong and that people shouldn't hold them. And then they go ahead and they have Harvey Firestein be one of the people to represent them in these films or whatever. Of course, you're not. I mean, he's Harvey Firestein. He's like the quintessential person who he is the stereotype. He personifies the whole thing. So it's just absurd that people would think that this is some sort of big struggle for respectability or something. No, and to be clear here, so I was thinking about how to really break down why this is a failure. And it's not only because of homophobia, but it does play a role, right? People don't want to watch a film about something that they're not attracted to. So the first problem is exactly that you're talking about taste. And I want you to think about if somebody says, you're going out for a meal, you're going out for, let's say, um, Chinese food, and one person is saying, "Oh, I'm gonna have the wonton soup or this sesame, or sorry, the sweet and sour chicken or whatever." Now, I personally, I was like, we actually had some Chinese food yesterday that my wife ordered takeout, and she had this sweet and sour sauce and some egg rolls, and I was like, you know what, this time for once, I will try the egg rolls with the sweet and sour sauce. And then I thought about it. I'm like, no, no, I just can't do it. And I ended up picking something else. I picked some mayo sauce that we had with something else. So the reason I'm using this analogy is because you wouldn't hold it against that person that they don't like the taste of a particular dish, or they don't like a certain type of music. It's just the way it is. Some people, they communicate with something much better. It's much more resonant with them, and there's other things that actually are revolting to them. And I would say that a romantic comedy that's sort of centered around this topic, around a couple of gay protagonists, um, 96% of people won't really be interested. Okay, there might be some um, couples that will go watch it just for the irony of it. There might be, but think about it that way. If you are dating a man, okay, if you're a woman and you're dating a man, especially if it's like one of your first dates, and he says, "Oh yeah, why don't we go see Bros, this new comedy about a gay couple?" Yeah, that woman's going to start thinking things about that guy, because of course, why would he be interested in that? It would be definitely sus. So there's a very clear reason why people are not wanting to watch this movie. But he blamed homophobia. The other reason I think that it was a failure is because Eichner is one of these people who is clearly trying very hard to milk his celebrity for all that it's worth. Because to tell you the truth, um, while you do hear his name every once in a while, I've never really seen any of his work that's really compelling or interesting or anything. I do know that he had some sort of stupid show on E that used to be advertised a lot. So beyond just the issues that he's bringing up, which are people being homophobic or whatever, which I'm sure does play a part for many watchers, um, you do have entertainers that are gay that actually have a lot of success. Neil Patrick Harris, for example, very successful. Anything that he's in seems to be gold. He was in Harold and Kumar. That was an amazing film. Coincidentally, the guy in Harold and Kumar that was supposed to not be gay, Cal Penn, now happens to be gay. He came out as gay like 10 years later. What was preventing him before? Who knows? So I know they call that internalized hatred. Usually they're like, oh, he hates himself so much that he pretends to be something that he's not. Um, anyway, um, so it's not only the fact that people might be prejudiced against this. It's also that the comedy, if it's totally focused on that, people are not going to be interested because it's a forced plot. You're basically trying to say that this is a totally normal situation that everybody should be able to relate to, when in reality, only a tiny fraction of the population can relate to this. Another reason that I want to cite is, and I've sort of gotten into it before, is that men are not into the romantic comedy genre. Straight men. So you've crossed out an entire section of the viewing audience, right? The only reason a man will go to a romantic comedy is if it's a date night with the wife or girlfriend, and you want something that's sort of a neat compromise between the two of them. So, in many cases, if there's like a great comedic chemistry between some of the actors, then both of them will enjoy it. Also, if the couple that's like the main focus of the film is attractive, so if the woman is attracted to the guy, let's say it's George Clooney, or the man is attracted to the woman who's the female lead, let's say it was Jennifer Aniston, then they would be the draw for the movie because they're they're physically attractive, or their personality might be attractive too. But think about it this way: if people are not attracted to that film star, let's say I give the example of Jennifer Aniston. In reality, I never was really into Jennifer Aniston. There's other, of course, people who are in Hollywood that I do find, you know, they certainly would be the best example. Um, I want to say Jessica Alba. Since I was a kid, I was like, oh, Jessica Alba, Dark Angel. I remember she was on that show, which wasn't a romantic comedy. So um, everybody has their own taste in these people. So you wouldn't say if somebody's not attracted to Jennifer Aniston that they're a misogynist, right? But this is somehow the way it works for Billy Eichner. That if you're not watching his movie, that he is suffering from homophobia because you don't like him. So that's really what I was going to discuss here. That people blaming prejudice for their film's failure, they don't want to acknowledge that their talent is actually not quite as good as their agent and their publicist and all the people in their life make it out to be. Instead, it's this escape from the reality that you made a terrible movie, one that people probably are ashamed to actually tell the truth about their real feelings to you about. So that's it for that topic. Let's see if there is anyone in the comments. No, I'm sorry to see that. I'm sorry to see that. You guys are all being um, hairy phobic for not tuning in to my stupid monologue here. Um, let me see.